All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome. So this is going to be lesson 5.6. We're going to be graphing inequalities in two variables. Reminder from my class, your topics are due for this week. And if you have any canned goods, bring them to me. And then also, here's our essential question that is going to be on the notes that you guys can print out. Or if you, notes are on Canvas, or if you already have the notes at home, do that. Homework, our homework for my class is on ALEKS. Please make sure you complete the lesson for 5.6. It is due by Sunday, but please don't procrastinate. Wait till the end. All right, so today we're going to be doing variables. We didn't have any bell work because we didn't actually do what was previous to that. Here's a big thing I want to make sure you guys understand. We're going to use appropriate tools for strategy. And then we are just going to be graphing the solutions to a linear inequality. Does it talk about doing anything really crazy with it? No, it just says graphing it, okay? And then represent constraints, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We've graphed inequalities, graphed linear equations. Now we're going to do linear inequalities. So boundary is a big key for notion with this. For us, one thing you guys need to know, a boundary is actually the slope-intercept line, which is y equals mx plus b, okay? If you know that, you'll be fine. Half plane is basically when you put the boundary down, you get one half and the other half of the plane, and I'm not too worried about the open and close. Okay, graphing. We're going to draw these out, okay? We're going to do one manually, which we'll do in a second. Graph the boundary using a solid line. If you guys remember when we were on a number line, we had a solid line, we used a closed interval. Now, we're going to be using basically a solid line. And when we had a less than or greater than, we used an open interval, and now we're going to be using dashed lines, okay? A dashed line to represent that on it. You graph the line. The second step is to use a test point to determine which half you shade, and then finally you shade that area. So let's begin. We are going to solve just one by hand, and then the rest we're going to use Desmos. So make sure if you don't have Desmos open in the second tab that you pause now and you get that going. All right, so on here, ladies and gentlemen, let's solve this out because we're going to create the slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b. That way we can physically graph this on here. So first thing would be to do 4x to both sides. All right, you solve it out like that. 2y, drop this down, and then this is going to be 6 plus 4x. Now technically, you shouldn't write it like that. I need to write it as 2y and then 4x plus 6. So that way I'm set up in the mx plus b. And then the next step, divide by 2. So you have y in your sign. We didn't do any type of multiplying or dividing by a negative. 2x plus 3. So there's our equation. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to graph the boundary line. The boundary line is a pretty simple setup. You guys at this point should know that this and this are actually kind of the same thing. So instead, you guys aren't familiar usually with this boundary line, but if I drew this and said graph this, can you graph this line? Most of you should be able to. It's not most, all of you should be able to do this at this point. So let's graph it. The y-intercept is 3, so I go up 3 on the graph, okay? Then my slope is 2, so my slope, it would be rise up over 2, rise up over 2, there we go. Now, here's the key difference. The key difference, ladies and gentlemen, is that when we're graphing this now, what we want to do is ensure that we use a line that is appropriate for the boundary. This is a less than or greater than. If it is that type of line, we have to use a dashed line, just like that, okay? Use a dashed line, because what happens is if I do any type of inequation, so I know we have a solution point of 0 over 3up. So if I plug in 3 here and a 0 here, I would get 3 is greater than 3. Is that an answer? No, it is not, because it does not have an equal to. So it cannot be a point, so that's what the dashed line is for. So now what we got to do is we have to test our points. We need to know what side to shade. In my class, we had talked about today making sure you guys understand The simplicity of this is pick the simplest point possible to graph. And the simplest point is the origin, 0, 0. Okay? So we're going to plug in 0, 0 into this point. So if you do that, 0 is less than 2x, so it'd be 2 times 0 plus 3. 0 is 3. Now my question to you is this, ladies and gentlemen. Is this a true or false statement? 0, is it greater than 3? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to shade whatever side is the truth. So variables on this side or this side, they're either going to be true over here and false on this side, or they're going to be true on this side and false on this side. So if I plug in 0, 0, this is a false statement. So since that is a false statement, what you need to do is shade in this side. Remember, you're going to shade in the truth. Okay, everything on the side. All right, if you guys still don't understand that, what I want you to do is graph this in Desmos. So I already have Desmos open, and my very first one. So if I did it incorrectly, you can see, does that match my picture? No, because that's in truth. So the one I picked is the second one right here, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what we have. Okay, because we know that 0 cannot be shaded. Since 0 cannot be shaded, this is the appropriate equation, and here it is in Desmos. Now Desmos is a great tool for you guys because not only will it graph it for you, not only will it give you a boundary line that is correct if you put the correct symbol in it, but ladies and gentlemen, it will help you with the solution process. So what I want you guys to do, and what I told my class to do today, this is the first one. Now on your notes, graph these two inequalities up real quick, and then I'll back away and show you in Desmos. All right, so on Desmos on these two, so you guys the activity today was just kind of get familiar with these. All right, so y is greater than 1/2 plus 3. You intersect at 3. There's your 1 up, 2 over. And then this one here, here's your intersection. I want you to solve it for y to create an equation. No, I don't. Not at this point. I just want you to get used to doing it. Now, remember these inequalities? They're not equal to, so they have the dashed lines. The next one here, okay, because I wanted to move quickly. Do I want you to rewrite this as y? And then, no, I don't care. Okay, I want you to graph it to kind of see what a picture looks like. Okay, and the same with these inequalities here. So please graph them out on Desmos right now and fill in on your notes. Okay, the main reason to do all those is kind of just get an idea of what everything looks like. So here is the one worked out example. Here's the guided practice. And then here's the other guided practice of 2x plus 3y is greater than 18. Simple enough, okay? I don't want you to rewrite them because I'm not asking you to rewrite them. I'm asking you to graph them. That's it. Now here's where you guys need to get kind of your grasping of what we're doing and how you do it. Okay, so on this one, ladies and gentlemen, the big key factor for you is please make sure you understand where we're going with some of these lines and definitions, okay? So this is an equal to line, all right? But that's not really what our big concern is, okay? Our big concern is, can we create this equation? Yes, okay? We're going to create it as the y equals mx plus b setup, okay? Now, what you guys need to do is you need to write this equation kind of given what you know. So what I mean by that is we got a y, we're not doing equals, we don't know what the m is yet, but we do have an x. So what is our b? The b represents the y-intercept, -4, okay? And then what is our slope? Our slope is up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So our slope is 2, whoops, I don't want to do that x again. Our slope is 2x minus 4. So there's our equation. Now the question is we know it's going to be the equal one, but which side needs to be graphed? Well, what you can do is you can plug in the 0, 0 again, okay? If you plugged in the 0, 0 again, it's right here. We are looking for, are we going to look for a true or a false statement? We're going to be looking for a false statement in this category here. So write it out this way like this. Okay? And then all you need to do is plug in the 0, 0. So if I plug in 0 to this, it's going to be 0 is greater than or less than. This will cancel out. -4. And then this one here is 0 is greater than or equal to, and this cancels out because it's times 0, -4. So which one of these is the false statement? Okay? The false statement, is this the true or false? Well, ladies and gentlemen, is 0 greater than or equal to -4? Yes, it is. So which one is the false statement? It would be this one. So if you're looking for a false, that should be our equation. Now, am I correct? Man, I hope so. But how do I know for sure? Go into Desmos and graph it. So ladies and gentlemen, here is what I think is the right answer. Yes. Does it match the picture? Yes, it does. That's the key aspect. Okay, now, if you were to take in the test and you plugged in, you said, I think it's the other one. I think it goes this way. Match your picture up. Okay, that's a big key factor. All right, if I minimize this, all right, does this picture look like this? No, it doesn't. So that means you did something wrong. So that means you need to change the sign to make everything look the same. Okay, that is your main goal and functionality and what I want you guys to be able to do. On our last test that we took on Chapter 4, you could have solved 17 out of the 20 questions by using Desmos, by graphing it, and then graphing your answers and comparing what you needed to compare. But unfortunately, a lot of you didn't. So this is the last inequality real quick. See if you can write this equation and go from there. All right, create this equation real quick. Slope is going to be +1, or the b-intercept, sorry. The slope goes from here to here, so that's down 4 over 1. So I know it's -4x, and it's a y, but what goes here? Do I want to take the time if I'm taking the AZ Merit, or I'm taking the Galileo testing, or any of those testings, to try to figure out which one is the correct equation? You can, okay? But I could plug in 0, 0, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste time. I'm just going to try to figure out which one of these looks like the picture. So you guys know that you can split screen your stuff on Desmos. Here we go. First one. Well, if I were to turn the second one on right there, does this picture match this one? Not by a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, but what does? This one does. So the answer is y. And then it's going to go y this way. Now, there are 2 word problems that came with this afterwards, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't really care about at this point. I want you to make sure you understand how to graph, interpret a graph, and write the inequalities. So please make sure you focus on those aspects. Use Desmos to double check your answers on the quiz tomorrow. Use Desmos all the time just to, if it asks you a question, okay, and it's not in this form. So say, for example, it's in a different standard. If I write it in a different form, like, because I know math, if I said 4x plus y is 1, okay? And I asked you to please tell me what the equivalent of this graph is. What I'd want you to do is, if this was in the question, I'd want you to graph this, okay? And then, if this is one of the answers, graph the answers until the lines go on top of each other like that. And once they do, that's the right one, okay? You are going to forget a lot of what we teach you in algebra. Once you go beyond high school and into college, you'll remember bits and pieces, but inequalities and stuff like that, you may or may not remember. The goal is that I want you to be able to troubleshoot. I want you to be able to be a problem solver and not a problem, okay? Solve the problems that you see around you by using resources given to you. Once you can do that, you'll be able to ace every single test and everything that's given to you, okay? Think outside the box with math. Math is right here, but I want you to think out here to try to get in to say, okay, if I don't know the math on this, can I solve it using the resources given to me? Please do. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. Good luck on this next quiz, and I'll see you in class.